Hello, I'm Pete Land. I want to share a leadership lesson for life that I learned many years ago that might be helpful to you in your leadership role. There was a major study done several years ago, and the question was, what are the three most important factors or variables that determine the success of any human endeavor? Big question. Number one on that list after the study and research was leadership. Number two was leadership, and number three was leadership. True story. I think if you look at your life experience, you'll find the success of any human endeavor, whether it's a business, profit or nonprofit, governmental agency, sports team at any level, church, civic group, Cub Scouts, whatever it is, the focus of leadership is what determines the success of that organization. We've seen that many, many times. Now, to put a fine point on this business about leadership, I want to separate and sharply define two terms or concepts. You might not disagree at first, but stay with me. I want to put some things into context. There's a difference between attitude and behavior. Attitude and behavior. Now, you think they're the same, they're really not. Let me separate those for you. Attitudes come from our values and beliefs. They form and change over time. We don't form them, we don't change them instantly. Now, attitudes, values, and belief are up here in our brain. You can't see an attitude. What does a belief look like? How much does an attitude or value weigh? No, they're in the brain, in the heart. What people see, what we can photograph, is behavior. What we do, what we say, how we act. Now, if a person goes to a building with the cross on the top on the steeple, we say that's part of the value system, belief system of Christianity, but that's a symbol. It's not the Christianity. Christianity is in the head and your heart. If we have an American flag or a Star of David or a gang tattoo, those are not the beliefs. They are symbols of the belief. We can see the symbol, but we don't see the belief itself. Now, behavior is totally different. You can put behavior on videotape. What you do, how you act, what you say, that is photographable, recordable. In my workshop, sometime I'm doing leadership training, and we get to this question about attitude and behavior. And we find that if somebody is behaving in such a way that betrays the attitude of sexism or racism or gang violence or whatever, we will say the attitude is betrayed in the behavior, and we don't honor that, but you're still looking at that behavior. If you see behavior that is based upon good Christian principles and honest work ethic, you would say that's different behavior. Now, here's the problem. In the workshop, I would turn to somebody in the group and say, "Are you judging me now? Yes or no?" And they'll say, "Yeah, we're judging you." "Are you judging me on my attitude or my behavior?" They say, "Your behavior." That's right. You can even look in my ear and see my attitude, my beliefs, and value. You see my behavior, and that's all. Now, here's the deeper question. I turn to Joe. I say, "Joe, whose standards are you using to judge my behavior? My standards or your standards?" He says, "Well, I'm using my standards." "Wait, you using your standards to judge my behavior? Mary, are you using Joe's?" No, what? Wait a minute. I've got male, female, young, old, tall, short, skinny. I got all flavors in here, and you're all judging me on your standards based on my behavior. Is that fair? That's leadership. If you're going to be a leader, you're going to get judged every day, and they decide whether you're an effective leader or not. They decide based on their values and look at your behavior, and do you measure up? If you're doing things they value as honest, with integrity, and mission-focused, and sharing the credit and taking the blame, if they see that, they'll say, "I perceive a good leader," and they'll honor you for that. If it's reverse, you're not mission-focused, you're self-focused, you give away the blame and take all the credit and all of that nonsense, people say, "You're not a very good leader," but all they're responding to is your behavior. Now, behavior tends to be skill-based. You can read a book, get the concepts, but how do you act? That requires skill and practice, believe it or not. Now, here's the deeper issue. If you're in a leadership role, you're going to get judged every day, all day, by everybody, and they use their standards, not yours. So say it another way. Leadership exists in the minds of the followers. Leadership is not a label, it's not a position. Leadership is an activity involving followers. If I take you to the South Pacific, drop you off in the middle of a desert island with one palm tree, no cell phone, none of that, there's nobody behind you, are you still a leader? No. Might have the job title, but leadership involves followers. But if your people come in, see you performing in a way with your behavior that's positive and good leadership style, they'll show that by responding with following behavior. They will start to follow. They take comfort in looking at the back of your head professionally. But if they look at you and say, well, this person doesn't measure up to my standard of leadership, they'll stop following. And that day, you're no longer a leader. Leadership exists in the minds of the followers. That's where that animal lives. It's very difficult to play in that game, and I encourage you to realize that leadership behavior is what begets followers. I wish you continued success. Thank you.